We're almost there. The first Grand Prix of the season is about to start. In today's video, we're going to do a preview of the Australian GP. Let's see how the teams are preparing, and specifically Ferrari. We need to see the statements from Loic, Serra, and Vasseur. There are also updates on the Cardile issue at Aston Martin. Obviously, we need to talk about Piastri's multi-year renewal and its consequences. And finally, we see what the atmosphere is like at McLaren. Before we start, I want to thank you for all the supportive comments. And if you like the videos, please leave a like, and now let's look at everything in detail. Ferrari is heading into the Australian Grand Prix with several unknowns after the tests in Bahrain, but also some weapons to exploit in their favor. It's true, the SF25 has shown fluctuating behavior, but the Maranello team can count on excellent bump management and excellent traction, which are key factors for the Albert Park track. We know the layout of the track has been made faster by the latest changes. The first sector features 2 chicanes with various roughness in braking, while the second is characterized by fast corners and full gas stretches. The last sector, on the other hand, which is the most technical, has 90-degree turns where balance and mechanical grip will be crucial. And the SF25 seems to have an advantage over Red Bull and McLaren in managing the irregularities of the asphalt thanks to the less rigid suspension kinematics. And this is an aspect that could prove to be decisive, considering that in 2024 the SF24 of Sainz won precisely on this track. In the tests, Ferrari showed excellent traction but also a certain understeer, especially when exiting Curve 1. The team is working to optimize the new pull road front suspension and improve balance, minimizing the risk of excessive rotation during acceleration. So what are the key points of the weekend? Certainly another strength of the SF25 could be its lower sensitivity to bumps compared to the competition that might struggle to find the right temperature on the front tires. Red Bull and McLaren with high levels of anti-dive on the front suspension could suffer, as has already happened to Red Bull in past years. However, graining remains a problem, especially in the early days of the weekend. Pirelli will bring the same compounds from 2024 but with an evolved range. Ferrari will have to make the most of the C4 and C5, of which more detailed data is currently lacking. The start of the weekend is now close, and Ferrari certainly needs to exploit its strengths, including better curb management. It's true, the track is getting faster, there are more full throttle sections, many drag reduction system zones, but Ferrari manages to maximize the last sector, where there are many corners where you have to take the curb decisively, and there especially Red Bull struggles more than the opponents. And this is a point in favor of Ferrari. Over the years, Ferrari has proven to be a very efficient car. We saw it last year, for example, in Las Vegas and Monza. So last year, Ferrari with the SF24 performed well on city circuits, but struggled more on high-speed circuits and on tracks with many corners. If we want, Albert Park is a bit of a middle ground between a city circuit and a circuit where aerodynamic efficiency is needed. Among other things, Loic Serra speaks well of the new Ferrari and said that the S25 responds well to setup changes. And this is a very important statement because it makes us understand that the evolution of the car is not over and that we could see a Ferrari that adapts more quickly from one track layout to another. But did you know that many platforms broadcast Formula 1 for free, but they are not always available in our country? That's why with CyberGhost Virtual Private Network you can access more than 40 streaming platforms and you can watch the races live and in high quality wherever you are. But why do you need a virtual private network? I'm sure you thought that incognito mode protected you online. Well, that's not true. Your internet provider, your Wi-Fi network, and even some websites can track everything you do. That's why with CyberGhost Virtual Private Network you can protect your connection, encrypting it and hiding your IP address. But beyond that, with CyberGhost Virtual Private Network you can watch Formula 1 anywhere. In the 2025 Formula 1 season, there are 24 Grand Prix races held from March to December. Some countries broadcast the races for free, like in Belgium, through Radio Television Belge Francophone, which broadcasts all the races openly. Service TV and ORF in Austria, TV8 in Italy, and Channel 4 in the UK broadcast some Formula 1 races and highlights, with the Italian and British GPs aired openly in their respective countries. And in Australia, there's 10play, which broadcasts the Australian GP and the highlights of the other races. And here's the best part, because CyberGhost with just one click allows you to connect to any of these countries and watch every race without restrictions. With a single subscription, you're fully protected. CyberGhost works on all devices, so you don't even have to think about that. And you can use it on 7 devices at the same time. So you can share it with family and friends, and by using the link that I leave in the description and also in the first comment, you can get 83% off. And yes, I'm not joking, this is a special offer for the start of the season. And on top of that, you also get 4 extra months for free. With a 45-day satisfaction guarantee, you can try it risk-free, so what are you waiting for? Download CyberGhost Virtual Private Network 2, use the link I leave in the description for an additional discount, and watch Formula 1 without limits, protecting your connection, which is very important to avoid hacker attacks or viruses. Having said that, I thank CyberGhost Virtual Private Network for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to us. The XR said Melbourne is unpredictable and it will be all different from Bahrain. It's a temporary road circuit that combines fast sections with tight turns. The big variable here is the weather. In less than an hour, you can go from high temperatures to cold conditions. And it's a challenge for engineers and drivers in optimizing the setup. The weather forecast for the weekend confirms this instability. There will be intense heat on Saturday, while Sunday's race could be characterized by rain. Also, being a track that is not used much during the year, the grip level will constantly change from Friday to Sunday.
However, Serra,
the tests have been positive, confirming that the SF25 responded well to the modifications. We have completed the entire planned program and the car has shown a good level of reliability. The track data met expectations, and the SF25 responded well to setup changes. The track and simulator correlation was excellent, which is crucial for race car development. After the race, Serra himself confirmed that the key to success is constant improvement. This was also echoed by Verstappen. The moment you think you're okay is the beginning of the end. In fact, at Maranello, the focus is indeed on Australia, but also on future races. And Serra commented, "In Bahrain, we had unusually low temperatures, while in Melbourne, we expect much warmer weather. You're seeing towards this, which will affect tyre performance." By the weekend's end, we'll have a clearer picture of the team hierarchy, though not definitive. We will continue to work to start the season in the best possible way. And Vassar also weighed in on the first race in Australia, as well as on Ferrari's internal management. The team principal emphasized the importance of the debut. Melbourne, considering it the first step of a long championship journey. The work done during the winter in Maranello was intense, but only a race weekend can reveal the real values on the field. And Vassar himself has stated the season is about to start and we are ready to hit the track. It's been a few years since Australia last hosted the opening round, and the circuit... Albert Park is not particularly representative of the rest of the championship. However, here in 2024 we did well and we are confident for this weekend. Evasora continued, "There are many unknowns and we can't wait to discover the real competitiveness on the track. The tests in Bahrain were difficult to interpret, but during the winter we worked hard in Maranello. Charles is also very focused on physical preparation, while Lewis has done his utmost to integrate quickly into the team." Evasora concluded, "We know we have all the elements to do well, but as always we will focus on ourselves." This is just the first race of a long season. The reception to the fans in Milan was incredible, and now we want to give them something to be proud of here in Melbourne too. Among other things, for the tests in Bahrain and the first seasonal race, Lewis Hamilton has changed the setting of his own steering wheel, and this shows us the fine work that is behind a Formula 1 team to try to adapt a 7-time world champion, in this case to the Maranello team, and it is a job of continuous adaptation in his new adventure in Ferrari. Hamilton is working on every detail to optimize his driving experience. And so Hamilton's SF25 steering wheel incorporates some concepts developed over the years at Mercedes. At the beginning, Hamilton also used the standard Ferrari steering wheel similar to Leclerc's, especially regarding the clutch lever. However, over time, the Briton has given precise instructions to the Maranello technicians, pushing them to redesign some aspects to improve ergonomics and the feel with the single-seater. Hamilton previously influenced steering wheel design when transitioning from McLaren to Mercedes in 2013. In particular, in 2017, he introduced the use of fingers on the clutch levers, a solution that has since been widely adopted across the grid. In 2021, he further refined the system, adopting a separate double finger for the left hand, which allowed him an even more precise clutch release. The primary distinction with Leclerc's steering wheels lies in the gear shift paddles. The Leclerc features paddle shifters positioned behind the steering wheel spokes with a wide surface and extended travel. Hamilton prefers paddles positioned higher up with narrower levers closer to the steering wheel rim. This configuration minimizes gear change movement, providing a quicker response. Another peculiarity concerns the lever shape. While those of the Eclair move slightly away from the steering wheel crown, those of Hamilton are curved and closer to the grip point. A sign of a preference for a command more compact and quick in interesting detail is the presence of two small additional ears under Hamilton's gear paddles, an element never seen before, and their function is to further improve the precision of the gear changes and offers an alternative control option. In short, it always amazes how much champions affect even the decisions of every little detail. Many drivers make changes at the wheel, but Hamilton has introduced revolutionary innovations to better adapt to controlling the single-seater. Now we must also address Enrico Cardile's issue and the gardening leave. The dispute between Ferrari and Aston Martin is proving more complex than anticipated. To limit the immediate transfer of know-how, in Formula 1 there is the so-called gardening leave, a restricted period that prevents a technician from working for a new team immediately after leaving the previous team. The duration varies based on the importance of the role covered and serves to defer the transfer of strategic information. However, the Cardile situation became complicated when the former technical director of Ferrari resigned in July 2024 and was announced as the chief technical officer of Aston Martin just a week later. This raised questions about the actual duration of his gardening leave and the possibility that Aston Martin may have started using his skills before the stipulated time. The Aretino engineer was supposed to respect the gardening leave, but if Aston Martin started involving him in the 2026 project ahead of time, it could be a case of industrial espionage. The Modena court has ordered Cardile to stop all activity with Aston Martin to avoid further doubts. We will see later how this issue will be resolved, and if Ferrari's accusations were confirmed, we could witness a case of great relevance in the technical market of Formula 1. The key issue becomes even more complicated, and we are witnessing a direct clash between Ferrari and Aston Martin, two teams that perhaps by 2026 will be fighting for the title. So be careful also to the consequences, not only in the media but also in sports, that will result from this situation. Surely, they will want to monitor every gardening leave situation more closely from now on to avoid scenarios of misunderstanding as in this case. But now I want to focus on the characteristics of Melbourne and see the situation at McLaren's. The first sector has a main straight followed by 90-degree turns where the exit traction will be crucial. The second sector is more flowing, with fast curves that test the aerodynamic stability. And the third sector, the slowest and most technical stretch, will be crucial for the mechanical balance of the car. A key aspect will be the management of the asphalt, which in the early race sessions will offer little grip, favoring phenomena such as graining. The Grand Prix times will be the free practice 1 at 2.30 at night, Friday 14th. Free practice 2 will be at 6 in the morning. Free practice 3 will be on Saturday 15th at 2:30 at night. Qualifications will be at 6 in the morning on Saturday, while the race will be on Sunday, March 16th at 5 in the morning. Challenging times for Italians, but with high adrenaline for this Formula 1 season, we will all watch the first race. But are we sure that McLaren is really the favorite in this first race in Melbourne? One of the distinctive elements of the new McLaren is the particularly accentuated anti-dive angle at the front, an extreme solution derived from the concept introduced by Red Bull in past seasons. This technical choice reduces the sinking of the front end during braking, improving the stability of the aerodynamic platform. However, on a track like Melbourne, where the front end is not excessively stressed, a thermal synchrony of the front tires could emerge, already observed in the past on the Red Bull. This problem occurs when the front tires do not reach optimal temperatures, compromising grip especially in the early stages of the qualifying lap. Another challenge for McLaren will be managing the ground clearance. The circuit has several bumps and irregularities that could challenge the MCL39, characterized by high suspension rigidity, and this could affect braking stability and the vertical thrust of the single-seater. From an aerodynamic point of view, it's clear that the efficiency of the MCL39 has improved, but it will be the first race weekend to confirm whether the team has found the right balance between top speed and aerodynamic load. One aspect to monitor will be the car's tendency to oversteer. If the front end offers great precision, the rear can quickly reach saturation when exiting a curve when the driver applies power, making careful throttle management necessary. Obviously, the initial feedback from Norris and Piastri is positive, with the MCL39 proving to be solid and competitive on race pace, so McLaren is certainly a favorite among the top teams, but the key will be the ability to adapt the setup to the specific track conditions, especially if the weather conditions change during the weekend. Very important topic, we need to talk about Piastri's renewal with McLaren, because this also has consequences on the drivers' market. The previous contract, Piastri's contract, would have expired at the end of 2026, but McLaren preferred to avoid any risk by securing one of the most promising talents on the grid. The renewal of the new contract has already arrived and is valid at least until
2028 because
it's a multi-year contract. Piastri is an incredible talent that McLaren has believed in since 2022. McLaren and Alpine fought over the driver for the 2023 season, creating an ambiguous situation. But Piastri then chose the walking team, and then came his first Formula 1 victory in 2024. Zach Brown says they have the best lineup on the grid. Andrea Stella says he is a talented, determined driver with a strong work ethic. And among other things, he is also a great team player. And this renewal of Piastri means that McLaren will not be involved in the driver market for at least 3 years. Maintaining a competitive lineup with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, showing a significant impact. Also for Red Bull, Christian Horner has always considered Piastri as a possible alternative to Verstappen in case the Dutch champion decides to leave Milton Keynes. With the Australian off the market, Horner could find himself in trouble if he had to replace Max in the near future. So the alternatives to Red Bull for Verstappen remain 2 Mercedes and Aston Martin. Even though the second option is the most likely, because Mercedes already has its lineup decided with Russell and Kimi Antonelli, while at Aston Martin we could see Alonso's retirement in a few years. Certainly without a second team able to enter the negotiation, Max's bargaining power could be lower than expected, consequently influencing his future in Formula 1. In my opinion, McLaren did well to renew Piastri. They have a great lineup, even though I don't believe it's the best on the grid in terms of talent, but they are definitely both team players and can help the team. As for Verstappen, I see him in the future, either in Red Bull or in Aston Martin. It will certainly depend on the performance of the Milton Keynes team. Let me know your opinion in the comments on all the topics we covered in the video. As always, I remind you to leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any video that comes out here on the channel. Every day I tell you all the news about Formula 1 and Ferrari. I leave you other related videos. Here from Lastra Tuto, see you in the next video.